Vanessa, thank you so much for joining me today. And I saw you posted this afternoon that you were so excited about coming on and sharing your passion and your purpose.
Yes.
So tell us about that. We're just going to skip right to what your passion and your purpose is. So tell us about your passion and your purpose.
So my purpose was revealed a few years ago.
Okay.
When I was at an event, and the theme was double portion. And they said, "What do you want a double portion of?"
Oh.
And I said, "My purpose," and someone complimented. So God said, "Working on the someone."
Okay. All right.
So He
Okay.
gave me purpose, and that's when I started realizing that my purpose is to inspire others to pursue their purpose and pursue their dreams through my testimonies.
Okay.
And
All
so I'm
right.
very passionate about that because my story is just so, it's just dear to me, and I just want to help other people who've gone through what
Okay.
I've gone through.
And so, where do you think this passion really comes from? I know you said it's based on your testimony, but aside from just having a testimony, where do you think that because you're so passionate about helping other people?
Right.
So where do you think all of this passion really comes
I
from?
think it's in me because normally your purpose is in you even before you're born. And so that's your gift, that's your purpose, that's what you're supposed to put in the earth.
Okay.
So I think a lot of people come into the earth. You don't just come to the earth one day and God say, "Okay, well, what's your purpose?" No, He puts you here,
right, for your purpose, to fulfill your purpose,
and
right?
so I think it's already in you. It may take years to into it, years to really want to take it on because it's not always an easy job.
So was your purpose revealed based on an event, a life-changing event, or?
It was that leadership event.
Okay.
When they asked, I don't know where it came from.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
When they asked, it just came out.
It just came.
You know what? This is what I want. And I just put it out there, and it started unraveling.
Okay. All right. Well, it sounds like it was revealed to you relatively easily, so that's good. Some of us are still searching. Right. I'll admit I'm still searching. So based on your passion and your purpose, you have a new book. You have a couple of books out. We'll talk about both of them.
Okay.
But you have a new book called Preparing Today for the Life You Want Tomorrow, 8 Steps to Pursue Your Dreams. I love that title.
Yes.
Tell us about this book.
Okay. So this is the new baby.
Okay. And so show it to our audience.
Okay, yes. So this is the new baby. And so right in the center, let me tell you about this cover. Right in the center are my 8 steps from the beach.
Oh, let's see that.
1 month before I did
So those are your actual steps.
That's
awesome. I love that.
Never knew I was going to use it. Never knew I needed it. And so on each side, it's a collage. So it just goes into, like, some people like traveling. This is me in St. Thomas 1 month after I retired.
I love St. Thomas. Yes, I love
early.
St. Thomas.
So that was me vacationing. I'm a college graduate. People may want to have lunch with friends. I love the cruise. Me editing this book when I was sitting at the hair salon.
Okay.
So it's like you always have time. You may have to just, me speaking, I love to speak, photography, people working out. So it's a collage of whatever you love to do, whatever you dream.
It reminds me of a vision board.
Right. And I do have one, yeah.
Okay. I like that. Yeah,
so
I like that. That's very powerful, because book covers are hard.
It is.
Book covers are so hard, coming from a self-published author of 6 books. Book covers are hard. So I commend you for the creativity of your cover. So let's talk about the inside.
Okay.
So you say that there are 8 steps in pursuing our dreams.
Right.
So without giving too much away, what would you consider to be like one of the most important of those 8 steps?
Okay. I'll say money management. That covers a couple of chapters.
Okay.
So it doesn't start with money. It starts with the mindset of money. It starts in your mind before it gets to your behavior. So it doesn't matter how much you make. It matters how much you keep and how much you manage it.
Right.
So you can't fulfill your dreams or your purpose without money. You need money.
Yeah, that goes without saying. Because I think people misinterpret the Bible when they say money is the root of all evil. Money is not, in my opinion, it's not the money that's the root of all evil. It's the love and the worship of money.
Right.
And it's, the misuse of money. To me, it's using money for evil that is evil.
Right.
But we all, the reality is we all need money to survive. Without money, we can't do the things that, we were put here to do.
Right.
So what about some of the other steps that you can reveal for us?
I would say walking by faith, because it took for me to walk out on faith, for me to leave my good government job after almost 30 years, step out on faith, to do what God called me
Called you to do.
But it took money for me to be able to do it. And I had to start disciplining myself. I had to be frugal. I had to start working like over 30 years ago. So I started years ago not realizing it. So it takes faith, it takes finances.
So that was one of my questions, actually. You kind of segued into one of my questions I had for you. You said that I read on your website that you retired at age 46. Right. Congratulations. Now share with us how you already said you stepped out on faith. So after you stepped out on faith, I mean, tell us, how that all happened, that you were able to retire at 46. I missed that. I wanted to retire at 45. Didn't happen, but it's all good because I'm doing what I think, I'm supposed to be doing. Right. But tell us how you were so fortunate.
Let me tell you, it wasn't an easy story.
Okay, well, let's hear it.
So I was going through a lot at my last job. And I said, okay, God, I need you to give me an opening. I was like, I don't play lottery. Because I was so desperate at one point, I played the lottery. I didn't know what I was doing. I said, God, it's meant for me to leave. I need you to find a way because that's not the way. Right. So I applied for other jobs. I knew nothing was going to happen because I knew it was time to go. But I wanted to be diligent. So I went through so much stress. I went through so much with the union reps and EEO, and they were trying to fire me. Almost 30 years of government service. Back in the day, it used to be that you have to be a thief or overturn the government or just do something crazy to get fired. But nowadays, they find creative ways.
Yes.
And so I went through so much. I said, God, I need you to come through. And when he finally offered that that buyout, I was like, where are my bags? You want to pack my boxes? They was like, well, when are you going to leave next month?
Right. I'm ready.
They was like, that's too early. We need you to, and, you're too young to retire. No, says who?
Right.
Says who? But it's not easy, but it's worth it.
Right.
But I had to take the necessary steps to get there. I used to feed the homeless. I tithe. It's not just one day you're going to wake up.
That's right.
Yeah. So God definitely honored my request.
So since you were able to do that, that is such a blessing. Congratulations. And so since you took that big leap and you were able to fulfill your desire to come out of the federal government, have you been following your passion and your purpose since then in terms of helping to motivate other people, or have you gone back into the workforce? What have you been doing besides motivating people?
Right. So I started speaking, inspiring, writing my book before I left.
Okay.
So that was maybe a year before I left. So that's what was excuse me, that's what was pushing me.
Okay.
Because I had that first book and I was getting that first book done. And so I've been a speaker, I've been inspiring people, sent for years, even when I was little. And so I just love to communicate, I love to speak, I love to inspire people. So I've been doing that. In addition to that, I just, try to find a little way, okay, how else can I help people? So I was telling you before where I can help people their travel dreams. Not just your dreams, but again, on here it's your cruise ship.
Right,
so
I see that.
Travel.
Right, that's what I'm seeing. That's why I was saying this to me reminds me so much of a vision board. So,
so I also help people with their travel dreams, just whatever their dreams are. So I've been doing that maybe for a few weeks now.
Okay. So, I like it. So let me ask you something that's a little bit personal for me. So, and my life is not an open book, but I'm just going to be a little bit personal. You say in your book, Preparing Today for the Life You Want Tomorrow, that you say this book is for someone if you dread Monday mornings.
Right.
So I'm going to confess that, although I'm self-employed and although I have, pretty much the flexibility that I prayed for, that was the answered prayer for me, to be able to manage my time and my schedule, and God definitely gave that to me. But I still dread Monday mornings. So what advice do you have for me?
Okay. So the one thing I talk about in the book is whether you're inside the workforce, outside the workforce, you have to change your perspective.
Okay.
So inside the workforce, change my perspective because I said I'm going to work with people who are invested in my dream. So outside the workforce, it's like, okay, God, this is definitely a blessing that I get a chance to wake up when I feel like it with some thing, I need to be up.
Right.
But I'm
right.
so, I'm just like, this is my time. This is my time.
Right.
So I just look at, I have a grateful journal. That has helped me. And I said that I was going to journal for years.
Mm-hmm.
But that has helped me because I get a chance to read what I'm grateful for. So that help pushes me.
Okay.
So, whether the grateful journal, whether it's to realize how blessed you are, to be able to wake up when you feel like it, or have that location, or look at where you come from.
Mm-hmm.
Because just to look at my story where I come from, that's just a blessing enough. I don't care what morning it is, Monday, Tuesday, whatever, for me not to have to wake up and be in somebody else's
place of business.
Right. Or in traffic. Or constantly just...
I can see that, and we're going to be taking a commercial break in about a minute or so, but before we go to commercial break, so I see what you're saying, but... Friday, of course, I love Fridays. But the thing about Fridays for me is it's so close to Monday. So it's Friday, then in a minute it's Monday. So it's just like I still don't know, and even if I do, the grateful journal, how do I change my mindset about waking up and it's Monday morning?
But see, when you work for yourself, a Monday morning is different than when you work for someone else.
But you still have to get up and work.
Well, that's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Yeah, but it's just something about Mondays.
And I don't know if it's ingrained, and those of us who had to work for somebody else.
I guess once I get past Monday, I'm okay with Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and of course, then when it's Friday, I'm, it's all good. But it's just, that whole thing about Mondays.
Do you have to get up earlier Monday than you do the
same time? But maybe we can talk about this and work on that. Yeah. Because it's just something about Monday, Monday morning, maybe it's a carryover from when I was in the workplace.
I think so, because I sometimes do. Okay, get it together. Yeah.
But you know what? I'm gonna try to wake up this coming Monday without feeling that way. I'm gonna work on that. So we're going to take a short commercial break, and we're gonna come back and we're gonna talk about your second book, right? Which was really your first book. Okay, so we're going to take a short commercial break and then we'll be right back. Welcome back to Savvy, the show featuring entrepreneurs, authors, and people with a passion. I am your host, Kathleen Driver, and please feel free to visit www.readelnora.com to get those great books that you just saw during the commercial break. Again, you are tuned into Savvy. I am your host, Kathleen Driver. My guest tonight is Vanessa Fleeton. Vanessa is following her passion and purpose for motivating others. She just gave me some motivation about changing my mindset on Monday mornings, and I'm looking forward to hopefully some Monday morning success, Vanessa.
Right, you might get some music.
I might. Maybe that's the key. And I do wake up to gospel.
Right.
But it's the whole thing about being awakened, I think, that disturbs me. But I'm going to work on it. I'm going to work on it.
Okay. We might have to work on it together.
We may have to work on it together, because I'm telling you, you just do not understand how Monday mornings affect me. But anyway, we talked a little bit about this book called Preparing Today for the Life You Want Tomorrow, 8 Steps to Pursue Your Dreams. Now I'd like for you to share with our audience your first book. And this one is called Pushing Through the Pain to Pursue Your Purpose. I love that title too. I mean, you have just come up with some great titles. So tell us about this book and why you wrote it.
Okay, so this book, again, sorry with the long titles, but they're both 8 words in the title. And 8 is very significant for new beginnings.
Oh, okay.
And this year's 2018. Yeah.
Okay.
So,
okay.
Just so happened they're 8
Mm-hmm.
words. So this book was birthed out of again my testimony. I wrote it while I was still at my last job, and I thought that I've already lived this title, but you never completely live this title because you're always
pursuing your purpose, because we're always unfolding into something new, right? And we're growing and doing something different. Because 10 years ago, or even 5 years ago, I could tell you I never thought that this is something that I would have been doing.
Right.
So you just never know, how God is going to steer you and how you're going to grow.
Right, and you're going to have a different type of pain.
Mm-hmm.
So the pain that I went through, it may have been rejection or abandonment or just whatever type of pain the audience had, is just turning that pain into purpose. Not allowing that pain to take you under. Not allowing that guilt, that shame, that regret of your past to take you under, because you can't reach your destiny and you can't pursue your purpose if you're held hostage by that.
Right.
So that's where this book came from, Pain to Purpose.
Right. And I'm hearing a lot when you say, a lot of your revelations, I think, came out of being in a job that you didn't necessarily love.
Yeah.
Do you think that kind of was a springboard to you doing some of the other things that you're doing? And again, to give you that leap of faith to say, I'm only 46, and regardless of what other people are saying to me about being too young to retire, you had to kind of know within yourself what you were ready for and kind of shut out that noise, right?
Right. Well, a lot of people didn't know. I didn't talk to a lot of people about it.
Sometimes you can't.
Right. And so it's like I didn't need their approval.
Because you didn't want anybody to talk you out of it. And you didn't need approval.
Right.
I think that's key.
But they weren't going to talk me out of
it.
Because I knew.
Right. Well, sometimes, and I'm glad that you didn't, but, sometimes, we as people are
because you don't get bios every so often. So I knew that was a miracle. And I knew that God fired my boss instead of him fired me. So I knew that he was in it. So it was nothing nobody could. You could offer me $1 million to stay.
Right.
And so this book definitely pushed me in that last situation, because sometimes you have to be made to feel uncomfortable.
Of course.
You have to be made to just go through so much, because God is not going to be fighting with you when it's time to push you forward. And I told him, I said, God, you're not going to have to fight with me. Once you show me that door and once you give me this out, I'm going to go through it, and I'm going to depend on you. So this just talks about all different types of pain: emotional, physical, verbal, just whatever pain you've gone through, and just turn it into purpose.
I love that.
And that's to help other people.
Okay. Well, tell us where we can find these great books.
So both of my books can be found at Amazon.com and also my website, VanessaFleeton.com.
Okay, so folks, that's on Amazon.com, and I'll hold the book up again. Her website is VanessaFleeton.com, and you can find out more about Vanessa, and I encourage you to go to her website, because I found so many great things about her. And you can order her books directly from her website, or you can go, again, as she mentioned, to Amazon.com. And so, Vanessa, tell us about some of the events and workshops that you've had. How do people find out? They can find out about your events and workshops on your website as well, right?
Yes, and social media at Vanessa Fleeton.
Okay. And then, so what types of workshops do you have to inspire and motivate people to go from pain to purpose?
Right. So I do women's conferences, seminars. I've done career day at the schools. I'll speak almost anywhere. Okay. It doesn't matter to me, to anybody. But I also have one-on-one consulting.
Oh, okay.
So my motto is, if I can get through it, I can push you through it. I can get you to do it. Because I'm not speaking from something I've heard or something I think. I'm speaking from
experience. Right.
So it's the pain to purpose, and it's the dreams to destiny. And I help people actually go through it, because I've gone through it. And so if I can go through it, then I can pull them through it. So I do private as well as public.
Okay. So do you have an event coming up that you want to talk about?
I don't have anything coming up right now. I'm just kind of focusing on
one-on-one and
some of the one-on-ones, and just like I said, getting into the travel piece and going to different events, because the weather is changing, so we're going to be on the inside. So I don't have any speaking engagements. However, I'm taking engagements.
I was going to say, but you're open, right?
Yes, I am.
Right. So if you want Vanessa to come and speak to your event or speak at your event, or to host a workshop, or for one-on-one. You saw her just counsel me a little bit one-on-one about my Monday morning dreading getting up issue, then you can contact her at vanessafleeton.com. So, Vanessa, did you, well, I'd like to ask you to read a little bit from your latest book.
Okay.
Share a portion of something great from this book with our viewing audience. I think that we can all benefit from the contents of this book. I know I've benefited from it already. So share with us.
Okay, so advantage number 5, where it talks about the advantages of being an entrepreneur.
Oh, Lord, you just turned right to the right page. Okay, let's hear it.
I told you I was going to pop it over.
You did. You know, and I said, wherever you turn to, it will be divine.
Yeah.
And so, from an entrepreneurial perspective, let's hear it. Right. Am I ready for this?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
So, for me, this is one of the best advantages of entrepreneurship. When I was hired in my last position, I was told I would be in a cubicle set off by myself.
Oh, Lord.
Instead, I was placed in a pool of cubicles with people yelling over my head and over their cubicles, having conference calls on speakerphone, brewing coffee at their desks, strong perfumes, etc. It was annoying, sickening, and I could not focus.
Wow.
As an entrepreneur, you have full control over your workspace. Do you excel in a creative environment? Do you want fuchsia painted walls and angels on your desk? How about a fragrance-free environment with a nightlight? Want to have oldies playing while you're in your business, in your creative zone? Do you require peace and quiet while you build your brand? Make it happen because you're the boss.
I like it, Vanessa. I like it. So it seems like you have a lot of good things in your books, and I want to thank you for sharing your experience and your testimony and just helping other people. And I think I know the answer to this because we talked a little bit before the show came on. What's next for you? You want to share what's next?
Well, of course, the speaking engagements. Of course, inspiring people to travel either for a fee or for free.
What does that mean when you say inspire people to travel? Do you create travel packages for people, or you just create, you hear what people want to do and you create or you suggest destinations? What does that really mean? What does that look like?
Well, okay, because I'm a timeshare owner, I have points and I sometimes rent out my condo.
Okay.
And so because I'm traveling, I'm cruising for my birthday, I'm not using those points. So I can choose to rent it out to people for a small fee. However, if they want to travel for free, they attend what you call a 2-hour presentation. That's just listening to somebody tell you about their business, and they get free trips.
Okay.
And I do it all the time. Even as an owner, I do it.
Okay. Okay.
So that's next. And then my next book.
That's what I was waiting to hear. As a business coach and independent author coach, that's what I was waiting to hear. So let's talk about this next book. What's the vision for your next book? Because I'm already loving these two. So I can't imagine it getting any better. So, but I know it can.
It's gonna be good. It's a spin-off of the new book because I didn't want to put all the details about my experience in this book because I wanted to cover so much, and I wanted to reach a lot of different people.
And break it. Did you want to did you have the objective of breaking it down in smaller chunks too, so it wouldn't be so overwhelming? Because I find that in a lot of books, a lot of authors that I've read, that self-help or motivational authors, it becomes overwhelming because you have too much. Right. But I think you've broken this down in more digestible portions.
Right. So this talks about faith, family, finances, and your future. That's how I broke it down to 4 F's. The next one is strictly going to talk about my last experience. Everything I went through. And when you see how God came through at the end, it's like a movie unraveling because nobody knew how it was going to end. And the union rep said, I'm not a religious person, but there is a God.
Well, we know that, right?
Right. So it's going to focus mainly on when you're going through at your job, when you hate Monday mornings at somebody else's job, when you're about to be fired, when trying to get another job and you can't, when you know it's something more out there for you, when it's going to get more into that, and that's going to focus on strictly that because people may just want to know that. Okay. So I already had the title, I already had the concept, everything.
Are you sharing the title or no? It's okay if you don't want to. Okay, that's fine. We can't wait to hear about it. So I encourage you all. I'm going to follow Vanessa on vanessafleeton.com to find out about these 2 great books and to also keep track of her and when she comes out with this 3rd great book. So Vanessa, before we end, we only have a couple minutes before we end. 30 minutes goes by pretty fast, doesn't it? Especially when you're talking about something that you're so very passionate about. And I just appreciate you for all that you do, because, you know, when you talk to people, you never know what they're going through.
Right.
And you think, you know, what you're going through, and not to minimize anything that anybody's going through, but when you're going through something, you think that is like the most painful thing that anybody on earth has ever gone through.
Right.
So what advice or encouragement would you leave our audience and me, because I'm part of the audience too, what would you leave us with? What kind of encouragement or advice would you leave us with for those of us that are pushing through some type of pain right now and into our purpose?
Right. So I would say, because I revealed one of my deepest, darkest secrets in this book. Some people never knew. Put it in this book.
Oh, so you became very transparent.
Right.
Okay.
I mean, everything. And so I had to realize that I wasn't alone. I thought I was the only person.
Well, that's the thing. Again, when you start
person.
talking to people, you know, because when I tell people, don't ask me how I'm doing, unless you really want to know how I'm doing, because I'm not going to lie and say I'm okay.
Right.
Unless I'm really okay. You know, and so years ago I was sharing something with some folks, and they were like, you just don't even know. And I started hearing women's stories, which was one of the reasons why I wrote a book that I wrote. And that book was called Mark 5:36, and it's the verse in the Bible where Jesus says, don't be afraid, just believe.
Right.
And so, you know, that I had to keep repeating that Bible verse in my head, you know, to get through something I was going through. But my point was, as I was sharing with people, then they began to share with me. And again, you just don't know what people are going through. So, and I'm sorry, but back to your encouragement.
So you have to realize that I'm not the only one, and that you have to realize that whether you're Christian, whatever religion you believe in, that your Savior died for those sins. And that once He forgives you, you don't need to keep on going back.
You don't need to keep.
He already forgave. Now it's time to forgive yourself.
You need to,
others.
You need to get off the short bus and get out of special. I call myself special ed. When I keep going through the same thing, I'm like, okay, God, you know what? I'm gonna come on out of special ed now. And it's nothing, and I'm not, you know, I'm not making fun of special ed. I'm just saying, that's where I was. I just used that, you know, as a way, you know, to put humor on the pain. And so I don't want anybody saying that I'm making fun of anybody. I'm not. That's just my way of, you know, putting a label on where I was in life. Right.
And when it's time to move on, and when I'm helping other people, it takes the focus off me. I forget all about my head was hurt, my back was hurt. I mean, I just go out there, and it's just. I don't know. One of my best speeches, I was the sickest I've ever been. I was so sick. I had pink eye. I had a sinus infection. I was losing my voice. And God came through. And I felt so bad. But I forgot.
Right. Because you were fulfilling your purpose. You were doing what God called you to do. Because believe it or not, I don't like to talk that much. But here I am with a talk show. And you know, people are like, you know, so how does that work? Because I think I'm fulfilling a certain purpose.
And you've been talking to me since
I mean, I'm right. We've been talking nonstop, but I'm fulfilling a certain purpose and following, you know, a passion of mine, which is to, you know, highlight people like you who have a passion and a purpose and are just so truly passionate and, you know, contributing to our community. Right. So, regretfully, we're going to keep on talking, but regretfully, we're out of time. But I do want to thank you, Vanessa, so much for coming. I'm excited about your books. I'm excited about the 3rd one that's coming out. I'm so excited about everything that you're doing, and I'm excited that you're following your passion and your purpose. And hopefully you'll be able to come back when you have the 3rd book, and we'll hear more. And so until next week, I am your host for Savvy, Kathleen Driver. Thank you for joining, and good night.